The America's Got Talent stage has seen countless dreams rise and fall, but few began as quietly and tenderly as hers. She was just a young girl when music first entered her life, not through fame, not through ambition, but through her father's gentle voice humming lullabies late at night. Her dad wasn't a singer, nor was he famous. He worked long hours, came home tired, hands rough from labor, but every evening he found the energy to sit beside her bed and sing. Those moments planted a seed neither of them fully understood at the time. When she told him, years later, that she wanted to audition for AGT, he didn't hesitate. He sold his old motorcycle to pay for the trip, brushed off his own worsening health, and told her, "I'll be there, no matter what." On audition day, he sat in the audience, clutching the worn jacket he always wore, eyes shining with pride. She could feel his presence even before she stepped on stage. The lights were blinding, the judges intimidating, but knowing her dad was watching made her fearless. That day, her voice trembled at first, but when she found her strength, it soared. The judges applauded, the crowd stood, and her father cried openly, wiping his eyes, whispering to strangers, "That's my daughter." None of them knew that moment would be the last time he would ever see her sing live. Life doesn't pause for applause. After the audition, reality returned quickly. Her father's health, which he had hidden so carefully, began to decline at an alarming pace. Doctors' visits replaced rehearsals. Hospital hallways replaced music studios. Still, he never missed a call before her performances on the show. "Sing like you're singing to me," he would say, his voice weaker each time. During the competition weeks, she traveled alone more often, carrying not just her dreams, but her fear. She would perform, smile for the cameras, thank the judges, but backstage she cried into her hands, terrified of what awaited her phone after every show. One night, after delivering the most emotional performance of her life, she checked her voicemail and heard nothing. No message, no encouragement, just silence. Hours later, the call came. Her father had passed away peacefully in his sleep. He had watched her audition. He had believed in her future. But he would never hear her final song. The world felt cruel in that moment. Fame meant nothing. Advancement meant nothing. All she wanted was to hear his voice one more time. Production offered her time off, even an option to withdraw. But through her tears, she remembered his promise, and hers. "Finish what you start," he always said. So she stayed. Returning to the AGT stage after her father's death felt unreal, like walking into a dream she couldn't wake from. The judges noticed the change immediately. Her eyes carried a heaviness that hadn't been there before. When Simon Cowell asked if she was okay, she paused. The audience leaned forward. Then she spoke, softly, honestly, about her father, about how he was in the audience for her audition, about how he believed this stage was where she belonged, about how he never got to see her last song. The room fell silent. Even the cameras seemed to hold their breath. When the music started, her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. Every note carried grief, love, and longing. It wasn't just a performance, it was a farewell. People in the audience wept openly. Judges lowered their heads. Simon removed his glasses, visibly shaken. By the final note, she was crying, but she finished. The standing ovation lasted longer than any she had received before. It wasn't about perfection anymore. It was about truth. And that truth cut straight through the heart of everyone watching. After the performance, no one spoke for several seconds. Then Simon Cowell stood up, not to critique, not to judge, but to honor. He told her that what she had just done was one of the bravest things he had ever seen on that stage. Howie Mandel admitted he couldn't even write notes because his hands were shaking. Heidi Klum called her performance a love letter to a father. Sofia Vergara, struggling to hold back tears, said, "Your dad is so proud of you." The votes didn't matter that night. The competition didn't matter. What mattered was that millions of people at home saw what grief looks like when it's carried with courage. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of her performance spread across the world with captions like, "This broke me," and "I wasn't ready for this." People didn't just hear her voice, they felt her pain. And somewhere beyond the lights and cameras, she hoped her father heard it too. Though she didn't win the competition, something far greater happened. Her final song became one of the most replayed performances in AGT history. Fans sent letters, sharing their own stories of loss. Parents wrote, saying they watched with their children, holding them tighter afterward. Music producers reached out, not because she was marketable, but because she was real. In interviews, she spoke not about fame, but about love. She said the stage gave her a way to speak to her father one last time. Every performance after that carried his memory. She began ending her shows by looking up, whispering, "This is for you, Dad," before singing. Her pain didn't disappear, but it transformed into purpose. She learned that grief doesn't mean the end of a dream. Sometimes, it becomes the reason the dream matters at all. Today, when people remember her AGT journey, they don't just remember the voice, they remember the story. A father who sat proudly in the audience. A daughter who sang her heart out, even when it was breaking. He may not have survived to see her last song, but he shaped every note of it. In a world obsessed with winning, her story reminded everyone that some victories are invisible. Love, sacrifice, courage, those don't need trophies. Somewhere in every replay, every shared clip, every tear shed by a stranger, her father lives on. And every time she sings, she knows he's listening.